Rob and Robbo.
It's the most talked about TV show that's not on TV.
And I think you guys are amazing.
With raw, honest opinions.
This was not a mistake. This was a lie.
Exclusive stories.
Some industry insiders have been talking about this.
Is that a Ben, Rob and Robbo exclusive?
And plenty of famous faces.
I'm not wasting these gold moments on 60 Minutes.
The Ben, Rob and Robbo Show is the new way to stream your news.
This is the stuff that headlines are made of.
Live every Monday to Thursday at 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on Ticker TV or Facebook and Twitter at BRR Show. Watch live or on demand.
Ben, Rob and Robbo.
Streaming across the globe, Ben Norris, Rob McKnight and David Robinson.
Ben, Rob and Robbo. News, entertainment, it's the Ben, Rob and Robbo. Ben, Rob and Robbo Show. Ben, Rob and Robbo Show.
Welcome to the Ben, Rob and Robbo Show. Here's Rob McKnight.
Hello and welcome to a big Wednesday edition of... I almost said a completely different show rather than the Ben, Rob and Robbo Show. I don't even want to tell you the show I was almost about to say. But it's good to see you back, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be back.
How are you
and I'm
feeling?
feeling just, just tip-top, mate. Real tip-top. Yeah, really good to be back here. Already just being near you boys is like a tonic that just washes over me.
Well, can I just
It's done
say,
nothing yet. But
I am so glad that I am in a completely different part of the state. I am on the Gold Coast. You are on the Sunshine. Oh! No, we are the one
That's
show that's
romance for you.
coronavirus safe, aren't we, Ben?
Yeah, I just, normally I'm the type of person who says, when you're sick, you should stay home because you don't want to pass it around to other people. But, we are in different spaces. And so he's sort of contaminated or quarantined, I should say, into his little section. And I think we're safe. I don't know. Those coughs are pretty loud. I can see.
I do apologise for that. I had my COVID test yesterday and got my results back same day. So later that night, negative. But for anyone who's ever had them, how awful are they? They are the most intrusive, intense...
Don't say that, Robbo. It'll put people off getting them.
Oh, no, they're so much fun. It doesn't feel like someone's getting a cotton wool and putting it into the side of your brain. So it was fantastic. Lots of fun. Take the whole family. It's a great day out.
Hey, now look, we are doing, every Wednesday we get a special guest on the show. Today we are trying something different and we are inviting one of our viewers onto the show.
She's amazing.
So we're hoping that all the technology is working because today we're keeping it in the family with one of our wonderful home viewers. Let's welcome Gay to the Ben, Rob and Robbo Show. Hello, Gay. Missed it by that much. Hello, Gay. Can you hear me?
Gay,
It's like a...
Gay.
Okay. We tried. All right. What we'll do is we'll come back and see if... I saw the connection there. I was hoping it was going to work. But we'll come back and see if we can get Gay on the line a little bit later. But coming up in today's show, we're going to meet some Disney puppeteers. So we're going to meet... Robbo, you will love this one. Don't you just love the people who bring puppets to life?
Oh, they're fantastic. And you know what, Rob? Particularly these ones, they're very, very... very interesting people, and the wonderful thing is we've had a chance to quickly speak to them off air, and they're just a barrel of laughs. They're fantastic, and we can't wait to bring their magic, their Disney magic, to this wonderful show of ours. Wonderful.
Indeed.
Guest.
All right. But in the meantime, let's get into our hot button issues. And earlier this month, the Andrews government introduced the Omnibus Bill, which key Victorian crossbenchers are now set to reject. The bill would allow any authorised person, not just police officers or public servants, to exercise emergency powers, detaining citizens without the need of court oversight if they believe they are unlikely to comply with emergency directions. It's been claimed that just about anyone anyone could become one of these authorised people, and that it is leaving the law open to abuse by untrained and underqualified citizens. In an open letter by 18 high-profile legal figures, they're calling for the Legislative Council to amend the bill or vote against it. Daniel Andrews has defended the bill, saying that yes, it is unprecedented, but denying that it is excessive and open to abuse. Ben, you live in Melbourne. What would you be happy for this bill to pass?
You know what's really interesting about this story is that, when I was doing a little bit of research on it this morning, a lot of people who were covering it in the media were just trying to up the ante on, how serious and how scary and how intrusive this is. But at this particular stage, I've been walking the tan some days, turn to the left and see a good 50 to 60 people protesting, and not necessarily peaceful protesting either, and the police having to sort of step in there. And I would wonder, and maybe this is just me, but shouldn't Dan Andrews sort of set out some pretty tough tough guidelines and some, maybe up the ante a little bit to maybe stop people like this going out and breaking the law and being a little bit excessive? I don't know.
Absolutely. The thing that worries me, if you remember when you were reporting on location when the pandemic first broke out and the restrictions first started in Melbourne, there was an overzealous security guard who was telling you to go home and not be there, even though legally you were allowed to be there. Plus you were also reporting on the situation. But he was taking authority into his own hands and telling you to go home, basically.
And the interesting thing about that, Rob, is that, I had the natural reaction of being a little bit like, oh, who are you and why are you doing this? And sort of wanting that initial reaction to push back against him. But then when I thought about it, I was like, you know what, I guess I can kind of see that we're in unprecedented times, and that's okay. So, look, I sort of took what he said on board, and maybe that's a little bit about who I am as a person, but I kind of feel like I wish that more people were like me and sort of just understood that, this is really trying times, and maybe we should comply.
We absolutely should comply, but I want to try bringing Gay in here. I can see that she's on the line, so I want to bring her in and see if she's got any thoughts on this. Gay, we absolutely should comply, but I do have concerns about security guards being able to detain people. Hang on, no, that's my fault. I didn't turn her audio on. Go again, Gay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yes, I agree. Look, I agree with Ben. We have to have rules, and yes, I don't think anybody should be over handling people, but we live by rules. We don't go through red lights. We don't go over the speed. These are all for the good of the people around. These are trying times, and we need difficult laws to cope with trying times. I don't know. I live in Melbourne. I'm 70. So I'm in the high-risk area. I don't know anybody in my court who wants to go out and catch this virus. Now, having said that, I agree with Ben. None of us like the lockdown, but none of us want to do anything else either. You've got to look at the alternative. If we go out and try herd immunity, but the population, 20% of the population is what we call elderly, which is 65 plus. I don't consider myself elderly, but we are the vulnerable.
Yes.
So people want to stop these wars, let's go out and sacrifice. We'll be the sacrificial lambs. I'm sorry, I'm not okay with that.
Thank you very much, Gay. And look, just to go back to introducing Gay, if you're wondering who this lovely young lady is that's popped up on our screens, Robbo, you actually met Gay while you were working at Studio 10.
Oh, no, a lifelong friendship was born there. Gay was very grateful to have us. We were very grateful that Gay took us into her home as part of our Getting to Know You segment, where we would go to a home viewer's home, and we would spend the morning with them. They would contribute to the topics like Gay is doing today. She is a wonderful woman. We've remained friends, and I'm just so glad that she's with us today.
There.
Oh, that was in the old days. That was in the good old days. That was in the good old days when I was thin, when I was much thinner than I am now.
Gay, I just want to say to you.
So they bought a whole heap of food and ate it themselves.
Yeah, that sounds
Okay,
about
Dave.
right.
All right.
Robbo would have kept the pigeons and eaten all the food on location, no doubt about
I
that.
sure did.
All
Sure
right,
did.
let's move on to our next topic because we're continuing with Daniel Andrews, and not David Andrews, as I said yesterday, but continuing with Daniel Andrews. A Sydney journalist, Denham Hitchcock, has been the target of online abuse after a tense, what some are calling, grilling of the Victorian Premier. Here's how it started.
Premier Denham Hitchcock from Channel 7. I don't think anyone would doubt that you're doing what you believe is best for the people of this state, and you're in front of this press conference every day, which is impressive. But please don't tell me that it would be pride that would be stopping you from revising the dates to get this state back on its feet.
Well, I'm not looking to impress people. I'm looking to get the job done. And this is not a matter of pride, it's a matter of science. And the data, the evidence, the science and the doctors tell us, and I think, to be honest, common sense tells you, that unless you get the numbers low, you can't hope to keep the numbers low.
He then went on to question Dan Andrews on the harsh opinions from other politicians.
Premier, no one is with you on this. The federal government, not the states, not the university that has done the modelling for you. You've got people quitting your own government over it. I mean, it's got to be pretty lonely at the top.
I barely have time to run through all the different errors that you've made in the list that you've just put forward to me.
Tony Blakely did the modelling for you, sir. He this morning has said that the date should come forward.
Well, there are many different views in any scientific discussion. We're grateful for Mr. Blakely's work.
And it didn't stop there with this final blow.
How important is accountability in your view? Because the public feels that there is none.
Well, having established an inquiry to get answers that are necessary, I think my views on that are very well known.
Yeah, but if the inquiry is not delivering answers...
Well, you're drawing a conclusion there that I don't think is necessarily a fair one, but even leave that debate to one side. The inquiry's not finished, so trying to predict or to hypothesise or opine about what will be there at the end of that process, I don't think is a helpful exercise and not one based in fact. It is speculation and nothing more than that.
There'll be a lot of memory loss though, doesn't there?
Well, you're free to draw whatever conclusions you want to.
Amongst the backlash against the journalist, some told him to go back to Sydney, others told him he should just stick to surfing, and hashtag "This is not journalism" trended on Twitter. Others did support Hitchcock, however, thanking him for calling the Premier out. Gay, I know you watched this press conference yesterday. What did you think?
I did. I watch the press conference every day, Rob. I watch the questions and answers every day because I watch, if you then go watch commercial news, it will be very skewed. So I used to watch it every day myself and draw my own conclusions. Now, yesterday, I think the comment about pride, I mean, I don't know any government here in the world that will put their pride before the people. And the government everywhere are putting their economies at risk. But the other question that he asked that I think he wanted a yes or no answer from was, is he going to wreck the state's economy for the sake of the people? Now, that's not a yes or no answer, and he wanted a yes or no, and this is the one that he got really very heated about. That's a loaded question. If you want to say, are you saving people's lives instead of money, then the answer is yes. But when he answered, what he answered was that's a choice we have made as a national cabinet from day one, and Denham Hitchcock didn't accept that answer as a yes or no either, which it actually was.
It's interesting, isn't it, Ben, that a lot of the backlash has been about the fact that Denham Hitchcock is from Sydney. Now, traditionally, we know that Melbourne people don't like Sydney. It's not just a stereotype. There is a hesitancy towards people from Sydney. Would this have been more acceptable?
What? Hang on a sec. What?
Bullshit. I thought too.
It's an actual load of bullshit. Can I just say, that whole rivalry between Sydney and Melbourne, it's a fallacy. Like, I love Sydney. I go there all the time when the borders are open. I think it's a beautiful city. I love it when Sydney-siders come down here. I hate it when people talk about this rivalry.
I'd like to retort to that because I can tell you from personal experience working at both 7 and 9. When I went down to Melbourne to do work, through those companies, there was a real standoff approach to anyone from Sydney coming down. Now, having said that, on both occasions, I ended up building great relationships down there, but I had to prove my worth to these people, first of all. But there certainly was a rivalry and a...
Well, I'm going to try and push that to the side. I'm going to push that to the side because I think it's an argument that we're not going to win because, you know, your circumstances of being in Victoria is your circumstances and you've built your own theory with that. But, you know, moving away from this and talking about the
based
actual...
on personal experience. Having said that, I love Melbourne. I love Victoria. You know, like, it's not a problem. And it may have changed over time. But we've got to include that when we're talking about the fact, and it's a legitimate question to ask, whether Melburnians would have accepted it if it was one of their own and not some interloper from Sydney.
You know, Rob, I think what actually is unfortunate about this situation is that last remark from Dan Andrews was taken a little bit too seriously, and we're talking about his go back to Sydney, which to me felt like a Real Housewives of you know, one of those TV shows, sort of a throwaway cutting remark, you know, of a tiresome person who has been berated by somebody. And I really did feel like it was great television. That's what he was trying to capture. He was trying to unearth information for good television. That's what I genuinely believe he was trying to do. I don't think he was that interested in the facts because he was getting the facts and he was being persistent. And then in the end of the day, we're now talking about a rivalry between Sydney and Melbourne, which is bullshit.
So was he doing his job as a journalist then? He was saying he's trying to make great TV. Was he trying to just be a journalist and ask questions? I don't see the problem with what he did. He was certainly tough. I think that more journalists need to be tougher with politicians, what they are. I think politicians get a fairly free rein in this country from journalists who ask a question, get the politician answer, and then move away from it. I always like seeing someone like David Koch. I like seeing Kochie, who, you know, tends to have a big fight with politicians, and I really enjoy that because I think that is what the electorate wants. I do not like it when journalists just ask a very important question, get a nothing answer that goes for 2 minutes, and then they just go, okay, yep. No, keep pushing for the answers. Well, I also really believe that this would have been a very different thing if it was a Melbourne journalist.
No, it's not that. I'm sorry, but you're inflating something for no good reason. I don't have a problem with the journalist taking someone to task. I don't have a problem with that at all. But to me, he looked like somebody who understood television very well. He looked like he was berating the Premier. I didn't appreciate it. I felt uneasy watching it, and I just thought it was overdone. And then here we are talking about a state divide. But Gay, I know you wanted to say something, so what did you want to say?
Looks like we've lost Gay there again. It's a bit of a dodgy connection where Gay is, unfortunately, because I'm loving her views. But Ben, I will say, we're not dredging up some divide that isn't there. I think over years it's become less and less, but I am telling you from personal experience, there is sometimes an anti-Sydney sentiment in Melbourne.
You could tell me all day. You know, do you know what? Just like conspiracy theorists, you can tell me all day a load of rubbish, and it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to believe you. I live in Melbourne. I live in Victoria.
Exactly.
For
so
my
how would
work,
you know?
I've travelled different states.
It. You don't go.
Do you know what I don't experience? Do you know what I don't experience? I don't experience any of my friends, family, work colleagues, anyone I've ever come across having...
Because even though it's happened to me multiple times on multiple occasions, obviously I'm lying or I'm wrong or something because you refuse to believe my word.
That's just your experience. That's your experience.
Yeah, exactly.
But I refuse...
You haven't had the experience. I have had the experience, and you're choosing to ignore the facts of my experience.
Rob McKnight, I refuse to get into an argument about your experience versus facts. So
No. It's not my experience versus facts. My experience are the facts. You're basing it on something you've never experienced. That's not facts. The fact that I have experienced it makes it a fact.
Okay, Judge Judy, let's move on. If you set the tone and you're always going to be right, that's totally fine. Let's move on.
Have you? No. Sorry, while I've been away, have you boys been getting along?
Yeah, we've been having a great time. You're the problem, Robbo.
Okay, yeah. No, I'm the thorn between the two roses here.
But it's Ben. I love you to death, and you know this. But you can't tell me something isn't so when I've personally been through it. You just can't tell me that.
I guess it's really disturbing.
I agree.
to me,
You
that's
don't have a problem with people from Sydney and possibly your friends and everyone in your circle. But there's a lot of Melbourne people who do. And I love Melbourne. I think one day I'll end up living in Melbourne. I love the city so much. I love the people. But there is an anti-Sydney sentiment. That's a fact. All right.
Okay, well, I will take that on board.
Let's move on. No wonder Gay's gone off. The boy,
She was on my
boys
side.
arguing.
No, she was on my side. I felt like you cut her audio. because
maybe I did. Did I press a button?
Yeah.
All right. Well, last night's episode of The Block had audiences talking for all the wrong reasons. The contestants were back on the building sites after 6 weeks of lockdown, and it was this moment between foreman Keith Schleiger and contestant Daniel Joyce that riled people up. Take a look.
Hey, mate, you put a bit of weight on.
And I was like, what? What are you on about?
Before shutdown, Daniel celebrated his loss by making a new notch on his belt.
Bloody pants keep falling down. I've been getting looked after by Light and Easy and shredding the kilos. It's time for another hole. Here we go.
Yeah, just a little bit. Come back the same weight as when I come over here, mate, so...
Sorry, Amanda just said to me, that's shameless promotion for Light and Easy. And I said to her, have you never watched The Block before? Social media went into meltdown with viewers accusing Keith of body shaming, saying there was no place for it in 2020 and that they expected better of him. Ben, is this as bad as people are making out?
Look, I think talking about people's weight is always going to be a really sensitive issue. So I don't know. Like, I think for people who are watching The Block, they love to get involved. They love to have their opinions on things. So, good on them. Good-o.
What, wait. What does S-E-T, what does that spell? S-E-T, what does that spell?
Set.
Oh, yep, hyphen, U-P. What does U-P spell? Yep, so put them all together. What did you say?
Okay, yeah.
Set up, okay. Yep. What a load of absolute rubbish. If you fell for this last night on The Block, you are an absolute moron. Because what are we doing? Oh, you put on a bit of weight, haven't you? Oh, well, I better do another little notch in my belt, eh? Light and Easy logo right there. What a load of absolute rubbish. It's a complete and utter setup.
So, Robbo,
the notch on the Light and Easy promotion.
Robbo, the notch on the belt was from before he went into lockdown, so he'd lost weight. So he's put on some COVID weight, and that was the discussion.
Yeah, right.
But I agree with you.
Right, but Light and Easy was there, was it? And so,
give me a break. This is the most ridiculous thing. The guy made a big deal about the fact that he'd lost a bit of weight. Your mates, whether you're male or female, all rib each other about, well, mates especially, women tend not to do it, but, like women will do it behind their back. Oh, she's put on a bit of weight. Your mates will say, putting on the pounds there. Every time my dad sees me, and thank God for COVID, because I haven't seen him for long enough to not have to go through this. I love you, Dad, but you know what I'm talking about. Every time he sees me, he says, you're putting on a bit of weight there, son. And I'm like, thanks, Dad. Appreciate that.
Do you know, weirdly, I can actually really feel in my heart how that feels, because every time I see Daddy McKnight, he does the same bloody thing.
Oh, that's a lie.
You put on a bit of...
That's a lie. But come on, are we really at the point now?
Can I say something?
Yes, please go.
Yes. Help us.
I agree with it. If it's an ad and the guy's in it, then that's fine. But it's nothing to do with why we're talking about in 2020. It's never okay, whether it's 1920, 2020. Even if you don't say to somebody, you're on weight, certainly not in public you don't. And in public on TV, that's shaming. You don't do that. But I agree with Robbo. If it's a stitch up and the guy's in it, then it's fine.
Let's assume it's not a stitch up. But I've got to say, there are different rules between men and women. Men will take the piss out of each other.
Don't ever say, if a woman says to you, does my bum look big in this, say no.
This is why I've had so many relationships fail, Gay. But Gay, I have to say, guys take the piss out of each other, like, oh, what's the big pimple on your face? What's the, that's what happens. I understand that women won't do it, and I think women do it behind each other's backs. But the fact is, there is nothing wrong with this. And if we are upset about this, if this is the biggest issue we're facing, because a guy said, oh, you're getting a bit big there, you know, obviously COVID isn't an issue and we're looking for stuff. I just does my head in, Gay. But
yeah,
look,
but there is still a big difference, Rob, between in private and a joke between mates and on national TV.
no,
Yeah.
I don't even know about that. I really... If he'd said that to me on TV, I just would have said, "Piss off, Lada." So I can lose the weight.
Yeah.
You can't change that face.
I probably would have said that to him too.
But look, our producer Abby is making me read this for you. If this story has brought up any issues for you, please reach out to the Butterfly Foundation, who specialise in eating disorders and negative body issues. Now, look, this is actually a serious place. If you do have those issues, you can call them on 1800 333 4673. I just don't think it's really relevant to this topic because I just can't buy into it. But that is a serious number. So if you are having issues, please go there. Look, one Sydney barrister, Peter Lavick, is crying censorship after his licence plate was deemed offensive and he was told to hand it over within 18 days by Transport New South Wales. The licence plate says LGOPNR. Now that apparently is meant to be an abbreviation for leg opener. Lavick escalated to Lavick escalated this to the courts, saying, "I resent anyone who's trying to violate my freedom of speech and expression." He also believes that 99% of people wouldn't understand it, so it couldn't be offensive. I actually didn't know what it meant either. His message to anyone who is offended is, and I quote, "Tough shit." Gay, I didn't know what it was.
I have to say, I've been around a while, as I've said, and I'm no shrinking violet. But this, and I thought it was something to do with Lego.
But don't.
Even when I saw it, it was Lego opener. I'm like, look, I don't personally like personalised number plates. I think they're a W. Let's say that word probably. So, but I had to look it up. I seriously, so I think he's right. When he says 9 out of 10 people understand it, they probably won't. I didn't. I had to look it up.
I know. I want to have a look at the picture again because there's a couple of things I want to say here. Robbo.
Yeah.
The guy's probably right. If someone's driving around in that car, it probably is doing what the number plate says because there are some people attracted to money. But two,
Lord.
I say let him keep it because anyone who knows what it means will think, as Gay said, he is a complete wanker. So let him wear that as a badge of honour and let him be the wanker he is, because the more that this story gets out here, that's what he's going to be doing, because every leg that he thinks is going to open is going to shut.
That's exactly right. I agree with both of you. I really do. Yeah. I agree with Gay. I agree with you. He is an absolute tosser. And don't you think, though, whenever you see someone driving around in a car like that, I don't know if it's you guys or I just think automatically I think tosser and I think small penis.
Yeah.
Because you're driving around
allegedly.
in a car that, like, the colour, allegedly. Sorry, I'm sure he's got he's got a little dick. Sorry, small, I'm so sorry.
Yes.
It's the codral. I'm blaming it on the codral, I promise.
Yes.
Yes.
No, I agree.
Move on, quick. Sorry, I apologise. Apologise for those remarks.
Robbo, is that why you've got a really little car? Because you've got nothing to make up for.
Okay.
Can I say some of those cars, especially a red sports car in a certain age of man, is often a midlife crisis.
Oh, yeah, 100%, right? 100%.
That is true.
I would have bought one, just couldn't afford it. All right. Look, let's get a hit of entertainment now. And Vanessa Bryant is suing the LA County Sheriff and his department, claiming they caused her severe emotional distress. Ben, what is going on?
Yeah, well, last year there was the tragic death of the American basketballer Kobe Bryant. It definitely shocked the world because he passed away at the age of 41 along with his 13-year-old daughter. Now, there were 7 other people that were in this helicopter accident, which happened in Calabasas, California. But look, there was a number of rumors that were taken about these photos that were taken at the time of the bodies. It was believed that these photos were taken unlawfully. When you are investigating a crash like that, obviously photos will be taken. But the rumors were that these photos were being used inappropriately. So anyway, just a couple of months ago, it is believed that an LAPD deputy was trying to impress a woman in a bar by showing photos of the dead bodies from this crash site, which as far as I'm concerned is disgusting, outrageous. But you know what? This bartender, he blew the whistle on this. He brought it to the attention of the authorities, and now it is believed that Vanessa will be suing. And the person she's going after is the LA County Sheriff, but she's also intending to sue those deputies who were on the scene of the crime at the time. But look, it's such an interesting question because, this happens all the time. We've discussed it on the show before. What do you think, and maybe Robbo, Gay, all of us can contribute to this, but what is the fascination of taking photos of dead bodies at a crime scene? Like, why do people feel the need to do that? Gay?
I actually don't get it at all either. Now, look, I watch American TV, so you're very swayed by that. I don't know if they'll take photos of dead bodies. Certainly the only person that should be is the coroner. The other thing I think about this is that there are other children in this family. We all know once images are out there, when these kids go on the internet, suddenly something will crop up. They don't want to see that.
Yeah.
Will anybody need to see that? Photos of the wreckage are one thing, but photos of deceased is something else entirely. It's just for the coroner only.
Indeed.
Rob,
and
what
but
do
it
you
was
think?
also interesting the fact that one of the big things was that pretty much it was alleged that a lot of the officers who turned up at the scene of the crash all started taking personal photos that weren't part of the investigation, as you alluded to. And this is what Kobe Bryant's wife wants stopped because she's got a fair point.
Well, just interesting. Yeah. Yeah, well, interestingly enough, Rob, I mean, this is the thing, was that, she was coming across a lot of that information, as there was the rest of the world, that it was alleged that these photos were taken. But, when questioned about this, she was told that, the sheriff, who she's really going after, had promised her that people had deleted these photos, that these photos did no longer exist. So it was proven to be wrong because these leaks, and they were always going to come out. I mean, if someone's using that for their own personal gain, and think about it, their own personal gain of picking up a chick at a bar by showing dead people's bodies, like the whole thing is outrageous.
Yeah, it shows you we've lost sight. But a lot happening in entertainment as we come up. You'll be talking Ellen ratings, Ben.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be talking about Ellen. Actually, you were in the media a couple of weeks ago, which was really fascinating because you made a prediction which is about to come true, I would say. We're going to talk more entertainment. That's coming up in the next 15 minutes.
Indeed. Thank you, Ben. Well, there's an air of excitement here today because we are about to meet some Disney puppeteers. A new show called Earth to Ned has just started streaming on Disney+, and it looks like this.
For thousands of years, we've searched for intelligent life. What we're about to discover is that we should keep looking.
Hi, it's just me, funny, likable Ned. It's 100% laughter all the time.
He came from outer space to talk to our stars.
What's a pet peeve?
Stupid people.
You came to the wrong place.
Earth to Ned, original talk show, streaming September 4th on Disney+.
Joining us right now are the Puppeteers who bring the show to life. Paul, Michael and Colleen, welcome to the Ben, Rob and Robbo show, guys. While you're in character, you're building a rapport with the actors that are coming on the show. What happens when you take off the mask, when you pull off the puppet? Do the actors react differently to you, or do they still have that bond that they've developed with you?
It depends on the person. Some people are freaked out by puppets, so they'd rather not meet you. Some people don't want to meet you. Like, they're like, oh, I like this puppet. They won't even look at you, especially if you're holding a puppet. Like, they'll just look at the puppet. But some people, like, they would meet us afterwards and they'd be like, oh my God, and they'd hug you. And then other people, you'd go like, hi, you did so great. And they're like, great, thanks. And you're like, oh, I'm Betty. And they'll be like, great, thanks. So it really depends on a person and their attachment to puppetry and to complete strangers that were sitting in a corner of a studio that yelled at them as a big blue blob, but now are just a random person. So that's how I felt. I felt like it depended on the person.
It feels like there's a resurgence of puppeteering. It feels like it went away for a while and now it's back, and because I think we got all caught up with CGI and computerized graphics. Does it feel to you guys like the actual real life puppets are back?
I would say, yeah. I mean, I think you're right I think people got CGI burnout. As wonderful as that artistry can be, it almost has, kind of a uncanny valley thing going on where people know you can pour so much CGI into a thing, your suspension of disbelief goes away because everything is so obviously fake. And then with a puppet, like I remember seeing the Muppets on Sesame Street when I was a little child, and I could tell they were fabric, like toys, but they were alive, and it's just fun to look at. Even if you don't know anything what's going on beneath the frame, they're just these delightful other creatures. And I think there's a nostalgia for them right now, like with the Dark Crystal reboot and, all the other Muppet and Sesame things that are expanding. But I think that the tactile nature of them, the fact that they're real without them being real is magical. Someone described puppetry as a peekaboo game in a way. It's almost like a magic trick. And I just think people are more invested in that than a lot of really wonderfully manipulated pixels,
Yeah. And that kind of takes me back to when guests would walk on the set for the first time and see Ned and Cornelius and Betty and the set, and there was 5 minutes of them. I mean, we went through this a lot of like, wow, oh my gosh. And then when Ned speaks for the first time, like, they could look at a digital character and they'd be like, okay, I get it. But when Ned, in, a physical being, turns to one of our guests and says, hey, welcome, it's great to have you here and stuff. There truly was a moment of, no, this isn't really happening. And that was really fun.
Okay, to give everyone an idea of what it's like, let's take a look at a scene from episode 1.
Andy, I think I should come clean. We basically attack other planets and we conquer them. When I started looking at your Earth, I was like, I can't do it.
Oh, really? Like, what was the main thing that really sold you?
Celebrities.
So you're telling me the Kardashians saved Earth?
Pretty much.
Should thank them next time you see them.
All right. Thank you, Kardashians.
I'd like to hand over to my co-host, Robbo. Robbo, can you take it away, please?
Yeah, thanks, Rob, for that. I really appreciate it. What's the thrill that you get from, putting on the puppet and becoming a character?
I'll speak for Ned. It's a blank slate. You know nothing. You sort of know what they wrote in the brief about what they hope the character to be, but nobody knows what it sounds like. Nobody knows what he talks like. Nobody knows anything. I mean, we know what it looks like because lots of money had been spent to build it. But other than that, it's rather alarming at the beginning to be like, oh my gosh, how are we going to do it? What does it sound like? What does he think about? But if you trust the process, it slowly clicks into place. So, and then once you get it, then ain't nobody going to tell you how that puppet talks or walks. Like, you own it. And that's a wonderful moment when you're like, no, Ned would never say that. Come here a minute. And trust me, we had some of those moments where like, no. I've only been doing this for 2 weeks, but. And that was kind of a fun moment.
Guys, how do I explain this show to someone who hasn't seen it?
Incredibly smart blue computer AI creature is forced to put up with 2 incompetent morons, and her programming prevents her from killing them.
Love that.
I think that works.
That's a good one. Yeah. And fun for the whole family. Let's add that in there. Just we get the demographic as wide as possible.
Absolutely. All right. Paul, Michael, and Colleen, thank you for joining us on the Ben, Rob, and Robbo show.
Thank you very much.
It's the random shot of the day. Where are you going today? You'll never know where you'll end up with the random live shot of the day.
And today, our Google map is going to take us from Australia as we head to America, New York, in fact, as we head to the Brooklyn Bridge. Yes, today we're at the Brooklyn Bridge in New York. It's clear with periodic clouds, a low of 16 degrees and a top of 23 degrees as we bring you that live shot of the Brooklyn Bridge. How lovely. I've never been to New York. Would love to go. Let's have a look at some feedback coming through to the Ben, Rob and Robbo show. Jamie says, hi, Gay, bring viewers to the show. Another reason I love the Ben, Rob and Robbo show. We've just got a slight problem with our feedback there, so just seeing if I can quickly fix it. Hopefully that'll do the trick, Amanda. We've got Cameron asking, is Pete Evans still coming on the BRR show? Yes, tomorrow he will be here. So send us your questions. We will be asking viewer questions. Glenn says the Sydney-Melbourne thing is a bit of a furphy. It's more Vic and SA. Brett says there are too many reporters trying to get a gotcha moment at the moment. I also hate when a question is asked on that topic is complete. Ben says the rivalry between Melbourne and Sydney is so 1990. Early 2000s as well. I would love to think it's gone. Seamus says, Rob McKnight, you are yelling and talking over Ben. Was it? That just sounds like a normal day. Jamie says, Rob deals in fact and not friction. I think I deal in both, Jamie. I deal in facts and friction.
You're definitely not Gina Liano, that's for sure. I tell you what, Gina Liano, she'd have her arguments lined up and ready to go.
Amanda says, I have seen different headlines over the years that people aren't happy that all of the morning shows are filmed in Sydney. Mary says, I've never noticed what a cute nose you have, Rob. You really do. Mary! Wow.
Wiggle it like Bewitched.
She loves you so much, Ben. Wow. I'm putting that in my clippings. Glenn says it's not personal, just taking the mickey. That's about the block. Mary again says, I am fat, but I like to identify as thin. That makes me trans-slender. Janelle says,
a good one.
That number plate had something to do with Lego. Lego. Sorry, I think we should just stop there because that's a great one to go out on, Mary. So thank you very much for that. Look, it's time for my favourite segment of the week. It's time for us to go down the rabbit hole with Bruno Boucher. Bruno, what have you got for us today?
Hi, everybody. Well, listen, I've got to tell you, as an avid TV watcher, and I know you guys are too, how great are jingles, right?
Oh,
is there anything better than a great jingle?
Yeah.
Love a great jingle. And you'll walk around for the rest of the day just being like, this has made my day, right? So I thought what I'd do is, well, look, why wouldn't I grab what I consider to be the 3 best and 3 worst jingles in Australian TV history? What do you reckon?
I love that idea. Love it.
Perfect. And a lot of thought has been put into this, so I'm just hoping that I rattle off the best 3, the worst 3, and you guys just give me a thumbs up, and I'm off on my way with the high fives all around. So why don't we start off with... Rob, do we want to start off with the top 3 or the worst 3? Sorry, it's probably something we should have discussed
What
beforehand.
order have you got them in, Amanda? The best first, please.
Yeah, I think you're right. Okay, guys, in at number 3, we've got Carpet Call.
Oh, yes.
Got the best prices in Australia.
Call, Carpet Call. The experts in the trade.
Love that one.
And you know what makes the jingle so good is that they say the company name, right, which is Carpet Call. It's got the call to action that you must call Carpet Call. And then just if you weren't 100% sure if you were going to call them, they let you know that they're the experts in the trade. And you're like, oh, wow, they're the experts in the trade.
Do you know, Bruno?
I can do that right now if you want, just because of my cold. So just here we go. The experts in the trade.
Oh, I got movement just then. That was good.
Bruno, when I was in primary school, we had a teacher who one afternoon just had us singing all the jingles from commercials. And we had all the numbers correct, and it was a great. I was like, it was something I won so easily because, you know, TV lover. But yeah, we literally Actually, now that I think it, she just didn't.
How good is Australia's education system that you just sat around singing jingles?
No wonder I'm so stupid.
Who was your teacher? Like John Singleton or some advertising guy like that?
That's right. Yes.
What's your next one?
Guys, number 2, it's Cotties with My Dad Picks the Fruit.
Ah.
Oh, I love it.
My dad picks the fruit that goes through Cotties to make the cordial that I like best. My dad picks the fruit that goes through Cotties to make the cordial that I like best.
Bruno, at your school, did they sing My Dad Picks His Nose that goes to Boogies? No?
Well, I don't know. I went to school in France, so it would have been sort of weird if that had
My
happened.
dad picks la nose.
Mon papa. But you know what makes that jingle so great is that that little kid is so proud that his dad picks the fruit. And look, I don't want to sound like a snob, but fruit picking isn't necessarily the greatest career choice there is. That's normally left to like backpackers to earn a bit of weed money. But like, he's so proud that his dad, he picks those fruits that go into the cordial. Like, I mean, that's fantastic. The innocence of a child adoring what his dad does.
Well, what he didn't realise, his dad's more like Breaking Bad, mixing all the chemicals. But, you know, whatever.
Yeah, my dad makes the meth. Right, I get it. And guys, number 1, the absolute best jingle on Australian TV is the Reading Writing Hotline.
1300 655 06.
That's the Reading Writing Hotline.
1300 655 06.
I love it.
The best.
Oh, by far it's the best. Because here's the thing. How do you put together, how do you get people that can't read, how do you get them to write down a phone number to call so they can learn how to read? Very difficult. You need a catchy jingle and then, 1300, like that's a fun bit. And then 655, like there's so many fun things within that jingle. Like most jingles, they just have that one thing. With this one, several. It is by far the best jingle. I promise you won't have a single viewer that'll argue with that. I stake my entire credibility on it.
Wow.
You have no credibility, but nice try.
How dare you? All right, let's do the worst 3. Go. In at number 3, as the absolute worst TV jingles, we've got Meadow Lee with You Ought to Be Congratulated.
No one else can do a Bobby quite like you. You ought to be.
Who ought to be?
You ought to be congratulated.
Bruno.
What a load of vomit. And by the way, this inherent sexism of like, hey, wifey, I know I never congratulate you for making dinner, but this time around, I'm going to give you a thumbs up because you bought a product. Like, how disgusting.
Yeah, but it was.
Sorry, am I on my own
We
here?
loved it as a nation. It was almost the Australian anthem at one point, Bruno. True story. You weren't here, so you wouldn't know.
But why don't we ask, our resident, I don't know what you call them, female, and see what she thinks of it. Gay, right, what do you think about, is this sexism?
I was just sitting here thinking that is so typical of the time. It was so condescending. I agree with Bruno. Yes, absolutely. I'm nodding to everything you say.
Fair enough.
Yeah, thank you. Exactly. Guys, in at number 2, we have Qantas with I Still Call Australia Home.
Oh, I love
Oh, my God. It's brought tears to my eyes, Bruno. It's brought tears to my
No.
eyes.
This is just a vomitous pile of marketing. And by the way, it's not a jingle. It's thousands of kids singing this weird thing about like, it's nearly jingoistic. It's saying like, oh, I've been to Rome and I've been to here and there and everywhere sucks because Australia's the best, right?
Yeah.
It's basically a very polished marketing way of saying "F off, we're full," right? And I just what an arrogant ad.
And
I
Bruno,
still
can I
call
just say,
Australia home.
You showed no appreciation. I just poured a glass of water over my face to get those tears then, and I got nothing. Nothing.
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't realise you were like a prop kind of presenter. Like
while the thing was playing, I'm there doing this.
Yeah. No. And listen, and when it comes to jingles, right, the best jingles are the ones that someone came up with in 30 seconds and they spent $5,000 on the ads rather than $5 million. So Qantas, I still call Australia home. Terrible. But guys, there is one that's much worse than Qantas, I still call Australia home, and that honour is reserved to Motor Finance Wizard.
Motor Finance Wizard says yes. Motor Finance Wizard says yes. Motor Finance Wizard. Motor Finance Wizard.
Motor Finance Wizard says
yes.
Oh,
I don't think I've ever seen
come
that.
on.
Yeah, that is
Didn't they
awful.
do everything you just commended the other one for doing it?
Well, no, because you've got a voice telling you that Motor Finance Wizard apparently says yes to everything, and then all that you've got up on the screen are terms and conditions for them not allowing you to have a loan. Right? And so I'm listening to something that sounds good, but then I'm reading something that's like, oh, hang on, they might say no for these 1,000 reasons that have just popped up on the screen. So no, Motor Finance Wizard didn't say yes. He's no wizard, and I don't recognise his wizardry at all for being able to provide motor finance loans. He doesn't say yes. It's on
Sorry,
the
Bruno,
screen
are
that
you
he doesn't say
suggesting?
yes.
Are you suggesting, Bruno, that he isn't a wizard? Are you going to put that out there on record? That this is
Yeah, I'm going to go see the ACCC about this because I think it's BS that he's a wizard. Show me the proof that he's a wizard. Just because he's wearing one of those wizard hats, it doesn't make him a wizard. And he's not saying yes.
Guys,
Stuff
this
it.
is why this is my favourite segment every week. I laugh so much. Bruno, you are a brilliant man. I can't wait to see what you have in store for us next week. Thank you, mate.
All right, I'm all angry now. I don't know what to do. All right, see you guys later. Have
See ya,
fun.
Bruno.
Yeah.
Bye, mate.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah, have fun.
Oh, it's time to get some entertainment. And look, I'm gonna talk myself up because a month or so ago, I gave some comments to the media regarding the future of the Ellen Show in Australia. Amanda, you have the proof of concept, the Daily Mail. You don't have it.
Yay!
Oh, damn it.
Ta-da!
It's almost like she doesn't want me to talk myself up. But I gave some predictions about how the Ellen Show would rate in the US, and I said that Ellen's ratings would remain the same. Benjamin, you have the inside word with how it's gone. How did her first show go in the States?
Yeah, well, Rob, great contribution, I would say, to the Daily Mail Australia, which you do every couple of days. Fabulous. But I just wanted to... Wow! I just want to say that yesterday all eyes were on Ellen, with her return, and mixed reviews as to whether or not she was genuine about her apology. Look, she peppered a few jokes in there. But a lot of people were discussing whether or not Ellen would ever come back to Channel 9. Because Channel 9, as we know, they pulled the repeats off and put them onto their subsidiary platform. And then with the new season 18 coming on, people wondering what would happen. But look, Rob, I'm with you. You kind of came out and said that when it comes to the fan base, the feedback is that quite clearly that most of her core fan base don't want to know the truth about her, which I think is quite interesting. Robbo, what do you think? Because when Rob was talking about this, he was discussing Ellen saying that, will the fans turn against her? Will the ratings drop? And he didn't think it would. What are your thoughts, Robbo?
Well, I think we've got to wait until we stop, until the first episode's over. Like, of course, all the rubberneckers are going to be there. So ratings for the first episode don't mean anything. They're actual rubbish. You've got to do the ratings that come in a week from... Okay, that's all right, but I don't believe Ben asked you. So I might just finish my point here. Amanda, if I may, Amanda, can we go back to 2 boxes, please? Just 2 boxes with...
Let me in.
Thank you very much. Oh, we can
just remember I have the microphone button. You're both off now. So I can say... What, Robbo, just move your mouth. No, take me off, Amanda. take me off. I want to do this. Robbo, move your mouth. All I'll say is that Rob is always right, no matter what his views and opinions. Thanks, Robbo.
So good. So good. You know, I just want to say, you know what's really interesting about this is that the core people out there that were going after Ellen and saying, oh, her ratings are going to drop and Ellen's a bad person, they've never watched the Ellen show. So like yesterday, when you think about Ellen getting onto her show and doing her monologue, she was doing, and I said this yesterday, she was doing a monologue to her core fan base that actually support her on the show. The ratings were no different to what they were the year before, which I think is great. And I also want to highlight something. It's like people have been going nuts about us at the moment on our social media. They're saying that, you know, Pete Evans doesn't deserve a platform. You know what's interesting? 99% of the people who've weighed in on that, they've never watched the Ben, Rob and Robbo show before in their life.
Absolutely.
So like, you know, at the end of the day, we've got Gay on the show today. She's a viewer. She's been really supportive of us. And so we're interacting with an audience that genuinely appreciates us. Why wouldn't Ellen do the same thing?
100%.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's just something I really want. I just thought of this again. Maybe this is the cod roll, but for today's episode only, we are 3.5 gays.
Very well done. No, Robbo, I already put that on our socials.
Either she can't hear you, Robbo, or that joke got the reaction it deserved.
Moving along, let's get to the next one.
Sorry.
We're talking Carol Basking.
Yes.
Well done, Robbo.
It's a delayed laugh.
I knew she'd come around. Thank you, Gay. Thank you.
What a delay. Yes, Carol Baskin, she's on Dancing with the Stars, as we know, but there's been a bit of a development, Ben.
Sounds funny.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is that, you know, a lot of people talking about Carol Baskins being on the show, you know, whether or not she is going to stay on the show, whether she's going to keep getting through, you know, it's not necessarily known. But look, I would say she's been a pretty good sport when it comes to the online response to her time on the hit reality show. And I think that she's been putting on a brave face. But when it comes to the promos of the upcoming episode, she has dropped that veil a little bit when discussing her time in the documentary Tiger King. Check this out.
On Dancing with the Stars, Carol Baskin reveals how Tiger King affected her life.
I keep it inside. That is the absolute worst of this.
Dancing with the Stars.
You know, it's really interesting.
The lion, so the tiger, so that's, you know, same thing. Allegedly.
I just don't want to... Look, I just want to say, I think by the time that they finish up with Dancing with the Stars, they could cut together all of the leading footage that they used before the dancers to make like an unofficial sequel to the Tiger King, because they are getting their money's worth with her, you know, making sure that she discusses all of these things before every dance. And I don't think anyone cares that she can't dance for shit. And that's unanimous across the board. She's the worst dancer they've ever seen on the show. But the content she's turning in is fabulous. Like, it's great.
Now, Ben, as we hit the home stretch, Bindi Irwin, some good baby news.
Yeah, absolutely. Yesterday we got to see some baby news from Bindi Irwin. She has revealed it is a girl. And interestingly enough, I thought this was also quite funny. And that is that she made a reference to baby tortoises. And she said, at the moment, the fetus is about the same size as a baby tortoise. Baby tortoise hatchling, I should say. But anyway, look, it's a girl. Do we really care? I don't necessarily know. I love Steve Irwin.
I'm actually really pleased for her.
Well, I don't know. I think we give her a lot. I mean, I loved Steve Irwin, and I think it's really tragic what had happened. But we certainly get to hear about anything that Bindi Irwin does. Like, she got braids one day, and it was in the Daily Mail. But then I guess you get quoted in the Daily Mail all the time, so maybe they're reaching.
Piss off. Hey, just quickly, TikTok of the day. We're almost on it. We've got to get out of here. Oh, no, we don't have it. Sorry. We'll have to show it tomorrow. Hang on, Amanda. Amanda's racing. Can you get it in, Amanda? Tell us about it,
Abby's going to be disappointed we didn't talk about Taylor Swift with the Billboard Awards, but we'll do that tomorrow. So, Abby, I do apologize. Today's TikTok of the day, very interesting. I think that smoking is a filthy habit. Doesn't matter who you are. So, check this out.
Now that crab is actually smoking a cigarette. That is just so fabulous. Leave it up, Amanda. Hey, Ben and Robbo, thank you for today. We've lost the link to Gay, so we can't thank her, but we have loved having her on the show.
We can thank her. We just can't get a response back from her. You can say thank you.
That's right.
All right. We will see you tomorrow on the Ben, Rob and Robbo show.
Oh, that crab's still smoking.
Rock and Robbo Band, Rock and Robbo Band, Rock and Robbo Show.
மட்டும் விட்டாங்க அந்த பக்கம் விட்டுறாதீங்க. விடுங்க. இங்க தள்ளி விடுங்க. நல்லா அடிங்க.